Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make Forsaken in Roblox. This is part 5 to the tutorial series. Sorry guys, I know that it's been a week since the last part. Stuff as I mentioned in my Grow Garden series, was a little busy with some college stuff, but I still got videos coming out for y'all and stuff. So this is part 5, and then I'll drop part 6 later this probably either tomorrow, the day after this video drops, or 2 days after this video drops. But yeah. So this is part 5. I fixed 2 bugs. Shout out to those 2 people that mentioned these bugs to me. I fixed 2 bugs. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I know one of them was when you like reset, when like if your player died or something, the health bar wouldn't continue to update gradually and whatnot. It would just reset, and like your health would reset as well. So I fixed that, and then I fixed I disabled the buttons and everything and stuff when it comes time for the round to start. So this is the stuff I did. We added the killer intro and stuff, and the killer UI, which that's just simply the text label that says this round's killer is insert player's username and then the type of killer they are. So yeah, this part of the series is just directly devoted to showing how to make a killer cutscene. Now I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna throw that disclaimer out right now. I do not make cutscenes and stuff. I don't. I hate making cutscenes. They're much too difficult and complicated. They're like too complicated for me. When I just don't like making cutscenes at all and stuff. And whatnot, right? So it's pretty basic. I pretty much remade the Jason cutscene intro, which is like, he walks where he walks, like the gate comes up, walks through the door, and then like the knife hits the button, and then yeah, just walks through it. So yeah, so I remade that. So I'm going to show you guys how I made that and stuff. Now I want to clarify something. Do not go in the comments and ask me, oh, can I make so and so's intro? Can I make so and so's intro? I'm not making all the killers intro. This is just simply to demonstrate to you guys a general idea of how you would go about making a cutscene, to give you some insight and to just show you how you would integrate like the cutscene part of the code into my code for this series and stuff. I'm not going to be going through making all the intros and stuff. I hate making cutscenes and stuff, so don't ask that. I already can see people asking that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay, first things first. I want to go ahead and knock out the quick UI edition, and then I'm gonna go through, because I know you guys are probably a little confused for these parts right here. So I'm gonna head on over to Core GUI, open that up. You're going to find round frame, right? You're going to want to duplicate I want to say the count, or no, wait. Yeah, we can say the countdown text label. So you could just duplicate the countdown text labels. So select it, or Control+D, then just, okay, wrong thing. And then, okay, clearly it does not want to go. I'll just do that. And then I am so stupid, the background. That's why it's not working. Okay. So I'm just going to drag this down here, right? I'm going to obviously update the size, and of course change the name, update the name to killer text label, right? And then we're just going to do maybe like 70, or no, I think just 50 should be good. So then we're just gonna do like 300 by 50, right? We'll just drag this to like the bottom middle, and then text color and transparency will remain the same. Background color will be black. Then we'll have a white border. So set border size pixel 2, border color to white. Boom, right? That's a killer text label. So by default, make sure the killer text label is not visible. It's not visible, because remember, our round frame is visible, so make sure the killer text label is not visible by default. Okay, so now to get into how I made the Jason cutscene and stuff, right? I'm gonna explain everything, so y'all just bear with me. Make sure you do everything exactly as I say. Okay, so going through this, right? We needed multiple things. As you can see, I'm explaining what each thing is, right? We have the wall. This is the wall, or the gate, whatever you want to call it. You guys know how there's a gate that goes up and stuff. And by the way, I know like this obviously doesn't look the exact same as it does in the game. This is just for demonstration purposes. Obviously, you would have a much better looking gate model, an actual button, maybe a different knife. I mean, the knife looks decent. I don't really see a problem with the knife, but yeah, and stuff. I just wanted to like make that clear to people and stuff. Obviously, you guys would have a much better part. This is just simply for demonstration and stuff. But yeah, so I just want to explain. These are all regular parts. So to do what I did, right, I'm gonna walk you through everything. So you could just insert a part, right? Insert a part, rename that part, to wall, right? And I'm gonna go through all the properties so you guys can see everything. Name that part, or name that part wall, right? This is gonna be your wall. Then here are the properties and stuff, so you guys can just copy it exactly. Disable can't collide. Make sure you anchor it. Those are the properties for the wall, right? Then you would create another part, and you would rename this part to button, right? And then here are the properties for the button and stuff. You would put the button obviously right next to you would put the button obviously right next to the wall and stuff. The whole point is it's supposed to be like right next to it and stuff, right? So that the knife can go straight through it. Then let's see. So we got wall button, right? And keep in mind these are regular parts. Regular parts. I just recolored this so that's yeah. I just changed the color so that it's green. All right. Then what I have next is the goal, right? So the goal is this part, right? This again. It's just a regular part. That's all it is. Just a regular part. So to explain what this is, right? So pretty much the killer is going to spawn here. As you guys know, this is the killer spawn. The killer is going to spawn here, and then he's going to start walking towards this part. Whatever part is named goal, the killer is going to walk to that part. So obviously you want to have it like set out in front of your wall, like a little bit, like in front of it and stuff. So you want to just set it out like that, and then you're going to name that part to goal, right? And again, this is for demonstration purposes. Obviously, in your actual game, you wouldn't have you wouldn't have all their spawns right next to each other, and then have the cutscene right here, right? So yeah, so you're gonna have that. Then we have the knife and the focus part. So the focus part, this is an invisible part. So I'll just show you guys. This is simply again a regular part. Show you all the properties. It is a regular part. Can't collide is disabled. Make sure it's anchored, right? You're going to rename this part to focus part. The point of this is to be like, this is where your camera is going to focus and stuff, like, right? You see how it's like in like from this angle and stuff. It's like from this angle you'll be able to see the killer walk, like you'll be able to see the door go up, the knife go through the button, and then the killer walk through the door and stuff. You want to position your part so that it's like directly right in front of that and stuff, right? You want to make sure it's directly right in front of it and stuff, right? Then obviously you want to have your knife. I got this knife from the toolbox and stuff. Just go to the toolbox and type search in knife and you'll find it. If you want to use the specific one I used, I can leave a link in the description. If you don't see the link to it in the description, just remind me because I probably forgot. But yeah, so I simply just took this out of the tool. I'll show you guys what I did actually. Toolbox recent right here. So I took this, right? I took the throwing knife. All I did was just take the handle out of the tool, just parented to workspace, renamed it to knife, and then yeah, that was it. And I deleted the other stuff because we didn't need the script or anything. So once you have your knife, right? Oh my bad. Once you rename it to knife and everything, here's what you're gonna do, right? It comes with sound effects, by the way, which I use. So you're just simply going to here is the like positioning and stuff if y'all want to match it. Make sure it's anchored and can't collide to turn on. So the way this is going to work is you're going to position it in a way to like add an angle and position to where like it goes forward and down kind of thing. Like you're going to position that, right? So that it goes forward and down. Now we're going to tween it so that it goes to the like your desired position. So it's gonna like wherever you put it, it's gonna track and go towards the button and stuff. But obviously you want to have it like an angle so it looks like like someone threw a knife at the door kind of thing. So you're just gonna you can just do that by just going up here and just rotating it, moving it around until it looks nice and everything. So yeah, you have your knife in position, right? Um, Very important. You want to make sure your enemy spawn is like in front of this stuff, right? Is in front of all this stuff, right? Um, and then want to say that's really it. Leave the sound effects inside, and that's really it. One other thing is I do have a gate sound effect. This is the sound effect I got from the toolbox and stuff. I just searched up like I think like door closing or but I think it was like gate closing or something and stuff. So y'all can just get that from the toolbox and stuff. That's for this door because we're gonna tween it so that like it goes up so the player can walk through it and stuff. I think that covers all the parts and stuff. Yeah, I believe that covers that's the UI and everything. So yeah. So that's the simple part of making the cutscene. By the way, I just want to go ahead and I'm gonna say this probably again in the video and stuff, right? And then let me just double check. Okay, we're good. I'll say this probably again. if something is not working out like where it's like as intended, you may have to rotate things. Here's what I mean, right? Let's say the players like let's say they're not walking, let's say the player doesn't spawn correctly and stuff. You may have to change some things in the code. Like y'all are gonna really have to critically think here. I know it's hard for some of y'all. I don't mean any offense by that, but some of y'all it is a little hard. You're gonna have to critically think and stuff, right? You may have to rotate. Oh my bad. You may have to like rotate some of these parts, move them around to so that it works for you. Just because it works like this for me does not mean it'll work like that for you, because you probably aren't going to be able to like create a one of one replica of like everything I've done and stuff, right? So you may have to like change things around and stuff. So yeah, but anyway, now we get into the scripting changes. So open up the core local script. By the way, I do have an intro animation and stuff. Simply just go to the local script, insert an animation. Um, then you just name it. And actually, now that I think about it, it would actually make more sense to actually do JSON animation. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're going to name it, so very specific. You're going to name this animation after the killer and stuff. You're gonna name it after the killer and stuff. So make sure it's the exact same name as the killer, and then just put the word animation after, right? And then you can't use my animation ID. You have to use your own. I got the Forsaken animations from the toolbox. I just searched up Forsaken killer animations. So yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's get straight to the scripting. Okay, first things first, we're going to need the sound service. So let's just go up here after the user input service, and let's create a variable for the sound service. So game gets, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Game gets service, sound service, right? Then we are going to, from here, we are going to scroll down to pretty far, honestly. Oh, like right, yeah, right here. So I changed the way this works. So we're going to, you're gonna delete this stuff because I know we added this stuff. You're gonna delete this, right? We're pretty much essentially, we're changing how this works and stuff, because pretty much every round you're gonna have a killer's cutscene play and stuff like that. So we're gonna just change, we're gonna do that stuff when we play the actual cutscene. So yeah. Yeah. So from there, we're gonna go down after that. You're gonna go right here. Yeah, right here. And then you're gonna go after that, you're gonna say else if event type is equal to in quotation marks. You're going to put, I believe it was called cutscene. You're gonna put cutscene, enter, then this is gonna set up the cutscene. We're gonna create a lot, and I mean a lot of variables. First things first, variable for the killer will be equal to arg1. This would be the player instance of the killer and stuff, right? Then we're gonna get our player's camera. So camera is equal to game, or we could just say workspace dot current camera. Then we'll get our okay, I'm gonna be very clear here. You're not getting your player's character, you're getting the killer's character and stuff. Because if you accidentally put your character, what's gonna happen is it's essentially it's going to have the camera focus on the player instead of the killer. So everyone will be looking at entirely different things. Everybody will be looking at their own character instead of the killer character. Then create a variable for our focus part workspace. If by some, I don't know, odd reason it wasn't there, we'll just go ahead and use wait for child. So then we're just going to create variables for all of our parts. So workspace wait for child, knife, button, right? Create a variable for our wall, workspace wait for child, wall, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to make it, since this is a cutscene and stuff, we want all our UI to be disabled. So we're just going to say for I comma v in pairs, core GUI, get children, enter, then you'll just say v.visible is equal to false, make everything not visible. Then you'll use an if stem, you'll say if killer. Here's how we'll be able to tell whether or not which cutscene to play. We'll say if killer dot class dot value is equal to in quotation marks, you're going to put Jason here, enter. So I want to be very specific. The reason why I'm putting Jason is because that is my default killer and stuff. If your default, because keep in mind, technically this is a default killer because it costs $0 to purchase him and stuff, right? So you would just put whatever name your default killer is. Again, I highly recommend you just follow along with what I did, because if you do something different, you're gonna mess it up most likely. Now, I already know people are gonna ask me this for the life of me. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, what do you want to do? What should you do if you want to add other cutscenes? You're simply just gonna go else if killer dot class dot value is equal to, then you would put the name of the other killer. For example, we could put John Doe, enter. Then you would put your cutscene code for that killer here and stuff, right? So yeah, that's what you would do. You would just throw an else if. Okay, now for this stuff, you guys are about to find out why I don't like doing cutscenes. A lot of extra. So first thing first, we need to create a color effect. This is pretty much gonna make it so that the player can't see. It's gonna put like a tint over the um the screen so that the player can't see. So color effect is equal to instance.new color, so it's color correction effect. Then you'll say color effect or color effect dot tint color is equal to color3 dot new. You'll say 0, 0, 0, so black. Then you'll say color effect dot parent is equal to game dot lighting, right? Then after that, you're going to say character. Remember, this is the enemy's character. You're going to say pivot to workspace dot, here's what I'm talking about right here. Killer spawn dot cframe times cframe dot new -1 comma comma 2 comma -1. Go on the outside, then parenthesis, you're gonna say times cframe dot angles, then you're gonna say 0 comma 380 comma 0. Right now, I want to be very clear, okay? Very clear. This part right here may not work for you. So I'm going to explain what this does. This is to ensure that when the killer spawns in, instead of facing this way, that way, that way, that way, whatever way, you want them facing forward. You want them facing the forward direction, right? In the direction your wall is. So then the player will start walking like this so that they're not facing this way, walking backwards, which will happen and stuff. If they're facing the wrong direction, they will simply just walk backwards or walk sideways and stuff. So yeah. So let's say this. Let's say I don't know. Let's say they're not face. I doubt you would have any problems with them like not spawning in front of, like, yeah. This part right here handles them spawning in front of it and stuff. You shouldn't have any issues with that. The only issues you would encounter would be them spawning facing the correct direction. So let's say they don't face the correct direction. Here's what you do. You play around with this number. You increase, decrease, do whatever you need to do and stuff. Right? You just literally and stuff. Just literally change it to 20. Play. Okay, still not facing it. 40, 60, 80, whatever. You just keep messing around with that number until they're facing the correct direction, right? Because this works for me, it may not work for you and stuff. But you just have to play around with the number, then eventually it'll work. After that, you'll say task. Wait 3 seconds, right? Then we'll do our first fade tween. So fade tween is equal to TS create. You're gonna put our color effect, comma. You will say tween info dot new. You will say 1 second, comma enum dot easing style dot linear, comma enum dot easing direction dot in, then a comma in between the parentheses, special brackets. You will say tint color is equal to color3 dot new. You will say 0.35 comma 0.35 comma 0.35, which is just a dark gray. Then after that, you will play the fade tween, right? Then after that, we're going to go ahead and make the throw tween, so that we're gonna tween it so that the knife goes at the wall. So you can just really copy and paste this. Control C, Control V. Then you're just gonna rename this to knife tween, right? Copy, paste. You're gonna put your knife here. This is going to be 0.5 seconds and stuff. You guys can mess around. So the duration. Now I will say this. I will say this. I recommend you guys copy everything I'm doing. Like obviously positions and stuff and angles that may change for you guys. You may have to change that. But like as for this, the task dot wait and the time it takes for the knife to throw, I recommend y'all just do it exactly as I have, unless it's not working properly for you and stuff. Because what'll happen is if you change the stuff, the timing could be off. The knife could reach the button too quick, too late. Like everything is timed perfectly with the sound effects, the visuals, everything is timed perfectly. So again, that's why I hate making cutscenes. You have to make sure everything is in sync pretty much. So yeah. So for the knife, so for the throw tween, or knife tween, whatever, 0.5, easing style is exponential, then put out for this, and then you're changing the position of the knife. This is what I meant. It'll go in its direction, so you're going to change the position, so delete that part. So you're going to say position, then you're going to say button dot position, right? Then you'll play your knife tween, right? So then after the knife tween, we'll we'll do a task.wait. We will wait 0.25 seconds or 25, and then we'll say knife. I'm just gonna play the sound effect that came with the knife, so knife.hit. Play. You can of course get your own sound effect from the toolbox. Then I'm going to create a variable. This is so that we can tween the wall so that the wall goes up and stuff, so that it goes up and everything. We have to do it like differently because what'll happen is like when you tween things, when you change the size of it via like scripting and stuff, it usually compresses and or like squishes things or expands it and stuff. So instead of it like just going up, it'll squish itself from top to bottom kind of thing and stuff. So we need to create some variables to handle this. We need to say goal size. So you would put whatever your goal size is here. By the way, I recommend y'all have your wall the same size as mine and stuff so that once you change it, it's good. And also make sure your size is like it's whole numbers and stuff like that. You want to avoid decimals and stuff. It won't give you any errors. It's a lot easier to do this if you just do whole numbers. So we're just gonna 6, comma 1, comma 1 because we're just changing the y value. Then, so that's our goal size. Our current size is the current size of the wall. Remember, you're just changing the y value because y is controls, top and bottom. Then we will calculate the size difference for y. We say in parentheses, we would say goal size dot y minus current size dot y. Go on the outside, divided by 2, right? Then you create a variable for our goal position, which will be equal to wall. You will say wall dot position, right? Then you will say plus vector3 dot new 0 comma negative size difference y comma 0, right? Then you will set up our wall tween. So once again, just paste. Oh my bad, wrong thing. Just paste some tween code because we're gonna do this like probably like 3 more times. So then you're just gonna rename this to wall tween. It's gonna be our wall tween. So wall tween. Copy, paste. Then obviously you're gonna put the wall here. So the wall will change the duration to 2 seconds. We will change the easing style to linear. Easing direction will be in, and then you're gonna change the size and position to make it consistent. We're gonna have to change the size and position. So we're pretty much creating the illusion that it's like just simply going up. You're also changing the position. So size is equal to goal size, and then position is equal to goal position. Then you would play the wall tween. Then this is when everything pretty much starts. So wall tween play. Then you would play your gate sound effect, and then we will start playing the animation track. This is a walking animation and stuff. The priority should be set to movement, right? So we're gonna say a t-shirt for animation track is equal to character dot humanoid dot animator, right? You're gonna say load animation and parentheses put script dot. Then here's what you're gonna do. Or sorry, not script dot. You're gonna script regular bracket. You're gonna say killer dot class dot value dot 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 quotation marks. You're gonna put animation, so it'll retrieve the specific killer's animation. I mean, it does actually now think about it. It doesn't really matter because this is specifically for the Jason killer, but it's probably just best to do it like this. So at and then I'll say play. We'll start playing the running animation and stuff, right? Or walking animation. Then I will say character dot humanoid move to. This will make them start walking and stuff. So we'll start moving. We'll start moving the killer to. We will say workspace dot goal dot position. Remember that's that goal part we had. Then you will say wall tween a completed connect function close parentheses enter. So once the wall is finished, then of course we will stop the gate sound effect. After that, we're going to make some adjustments to the camera. We're going to say camera type, and you're going to say is equal to enum.camera type scriptable, then camera. Then we're going to adjust the C frame. So C frame is equal to focus part dot C frame times C frame dot new, or sorry, not C frame dot new, C frame dot angles. My bad. C frame dot angles, right? You're going to say 0 comma math dot rad. Then you're going to put 280 comma 0. Again, you may have to adjust this number. You may have to adjust this number and stuff, right? If the camera is not facing the correct direction and stuff, like when the cutscene is playing, you'll have to adjust this so that you can rotate it and whatnot and stuff. That's what I meant. And then let me just double check to make sure we're good. Okay. Yeah, see that's I was like, what just happened? This is exactly why I just wanted to do the killer stuff, the cutscene stuff in just one video, because I knew this part would take long enough. But then yeah, after that, we're then going to create a blur effect. So blur is equal to instance.new. You'll put a blur effect. We'll say blur. That size would be equal to 10, but you can adjust that to whatever you want it to be. Parent that to game.lighting. Right? Then you're going to set up the killer text label stuff. You're going to say core GUI dot round frame. The killer text label dot text is equal to in quotation marks. You will say this rounds killer is dot 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 space. Then you would just say dot dot dot. This round's killer is. Wait, is this supposed to be the? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So this round's killer is player, or not, sorry, not player name, killer dot name, dot 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 quotation marks space. Then you would just put the quotation marks, and you would say dot 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 killer dot class dot value. Yeah, dot 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 quotation marks and parentheses. So the name of the killer, then their class. Instead, or yeah, like the killer name, I should say. So then we'll say core GUI dot round frame dot visible is equal to true. Core GUI dot round frame killer text table visible is equal to true, right? Then we will wait 2 seconds. So test that wait 2 seconds, right? Then we will create our second fade tween. So again, just copy and paste. And then this will be our second fade tween, right? So let's Control C, Control V, right? Then this goes back to our color effect. This will be 1 second linear in, and then we're just changing this. Then we're gonna say tint color 3 dot new. You're gonna see 0, so it's gonna fade to black. This means the cutscene is finished, and now we're pretty much like the game is starting pretty much. Fade tween to play. Then task that wait 2 seconds. Then after that, you're simply just gonna say core GUI dot round frame dot visible is equal to false. Then you're gonna say core GUI dot round frame dot round text label, or sorry, wait, no, not round text label, killer text label dot visible is equal to false. Then at this point you're gonna stop playing the animation track because it's done. You're finishing all the prep, all the stuff, and then the cutscene is wrapping up. So destroy the blur. So we'll destroy the blur. You'll reset the camera type. Camera type will be equal to camera type dot custom, so that it's back to the player's view. Then we'll paste again. Oh, my bad. We will Control C, Control V, change that to 3 and 3. So our color effect. So this all remains the same, except this, you'll just change this to white. So it'll be like 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 type thing, right? So fade tween 3 play. Then upon fade tween 3 completing, connect function, close parentheses, enter, right? We're going to make it so that the UI will be visible. So we'll say core GUI dot hotbar frame dot visible is equal to true. Core GUI dot info frame dot visible is equal to true. Core GUI dot round frame dot visible is equal to true. And then the last thing, we probably should destroy the color effect by now. Stuff since that's done. We'll destroy the color effect, and then yeah. So yeah, the game will be starting, and then yeah. Okay, that's all we have to do with the local scripts. Now move on to the server script, which won't take us too long. Okay, so moving on to the server script. You're gonna go down here. You're gonna go right here after the killer variable. So this is a check in place. Let's say that the player does not have a killer currently equipped. They have a survivor equipped. We're going to then what we're going to do is we're going to just equip the default killer and stuff. If the round has started or if the round is starting and that player is chosen as the killer and they currently have a survivor equipped, we're just going to make it so that the default killer, which is free, we're just going to make it so that that's who they're going to use. So we're going to say if not character folder dot killers find first child killer dot class dot value, which means if we cannot find the name of their class inside of the killers folder, that means they are currently using a survivor. Enter, right? Then you're gonna say for I comma v in pairs character folder dot killers get children. Enter, you'll say if v dot cost, oh my bad, v dot cost dot value is equal to 0, so your default killer essentially. Enter. Then you will say killer dot class dot value is equal to v dot name, right? So boom, that fixes a bug. Then we're gonna go down here. So after this, after the imp, or no, actually, wait, no, it's actually before the, yeah, we're gonna play the killer cutscene before the round stuff. So we're gonna say core event fire all clients, right? And then you're going to, in quotation marks, you're gonna put cutscene, right? Then comma send over the instance of the killer, right? Then after that, you're gonna go scroll down here, fix another bug. So we're gonna check to see if the we're gonna add a variable here called class found. Make sure that we found the class. Class found is equal to, my bad, is equal to false by default. And then if we do find the player's class, we'll say class found is set to true, right? We'll add that. Then we need to wrap all of this stuff in an if statement, right? So I know there's a way to do this. I know there's a way, but I don't feel like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that. So you're just gonna go after these, and before the ability list variable, you're just simply gonna say if class found enter, which pretty much means class found is equal to true. Then you're just gonna copy this code or cut it, and then just paste it, and then boom. So if a class was found, you'll fire their mode event so that it'll update the stuff, right? And then I'm about to show you guys the reason as to why I added that, right? So you're gonna go right here, and then you're going to create a variable for the player's current. So whenever a character is added, you're going to create a variable for the current class. This fixes the health bug. So you're going to say current class is equal to player.class. So what was happening was it was resetting the player's health to like 100, and then it was updating their UI. So we're going to fix that. So we're going to save whatever their current class is. We're going to store that value inside of the current class variable. Then we're going to change this to player class dot value is equal to nothing, right? Then we're simply just resetting it. So value is equal to current class. We're just resetting it upon them dying. That's all we're doing and stuff, right? And then that'll fix that bug. And so that's why we needed that code to check to make sure that it's not, an empty string and it's actually a class. And then, yeah, that's it. That's it. Let's go ahead and test to make sure this works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, you guys can just read the description. You can find out more about that and stuff. Okay, so let's go and test. Just to reiterate, I will not be showing you guys how to make all of the killers cutscenes and everything and stuff. Okay. So what I actually I just realized it doesn't matter because it'll just automatically. So yeah. So it'll choose one of these NPCs to be the killer and stuff. Once that's done, it'll play the cutscene or whatnot. So oh, by the way, yeah, to test to make sure this works, make sure that your player has your player's class is set to whatever like you just did. Like in our case, it's Jason and stuff by default. I don't need to set it because remember in the code we set it to if it's set to a survivor, it'll automatically change it to their Jason class. So let's wait and then round, okay, fades out, fades in. There we go. Round killer is player 2 Jason. And there we go. I'm the survivor. The killer is over there. And I know this is a bug. I will fix this in later part. But as you can see, it works. You can probably make this invisible and whatnot. And yeah. And then the survivors are over there. Stuff. So yeah. That's how we would go about doing that. So yeah. As you guys can see, it's pretty. I feel like it's pretty much it's just like a lower budget. It's like a lower budget version. Stuff. Nav goes to the button, makes a sound effect. Gate goes up. You guys can see. I can't talk. You guys do see how it could be a little bit higher and stuff for clearance, like just because the hat and stuff. But you guys get the point though. Oh whatnot. So yeah. If you guys enjoyed part 5 of the series, definitely leave a like and subscribe and stuff. As you guys know, I will continue dropping more and more Forsaken parts as long as you guys keep showing the series love and support and stuff. I appreciate all the love and support you guys been showing the channel, especially recently and whatnot. As always, if you guys find any bugs, just definitely let me know and I will get those addressed in a future part. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.